Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 7, Book 71, number 604. Narrated by Khabib bin Ujra. The Prophet came to me during the period of Al-Hudaybiyah, while I was lighting fire underneath a cooking pot and lice were falling down my head. He said, "Do your lice hurt your?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Shave your head and fast for 3 days, or feed 6 poor persons, or slaughter a sheep as a sacrifice." Volume 7, Book 71, number 605. Narrated by Jabir. The Prophet said, "If there is any healing in your medicines, then it is a cupping operation, or branding, cauterization. But I do not like to be cauterized, branded." Volume 7, Book 71, number 606. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. Allah's apostle said, "Nations were displayed before me. 1 or 2 prophets would pass by along with a few followers. A prophet would pass by accompanied by nobody. Then a big crowd of people passed in front of me, and I asked, 'Who are they? Are they my followers?' It was said, 'No. It is Moses and his followers.' It was said to me, 'Look at the horizon.' Behold, there was a multitude of people filling the horizon. Then it was said to me, 'Look there and there about the stretching sky.' Behold, there was a multitude filling the horizon. It was said to me, 'This is your nation, out of whom 70,000 shall enter paradise without reckoning.' Then the Prophet entered his house without telling his companions who they, the 70,000, were. So the people started talking about the issue and said, 'It is we who have believed in Allah and followed his apostle. Therefore those people are either ourselves or our children who are born in the Islamic era, for we were born in the pre-Islamic period of ignorance.' When the Prophet heard of that, he came out and said, 'Those people are those who do not treat themselves with ruqyah, nor do they believe in bad or good omen, from birds etc., nor do they get themselves branded, cauterized. But they put their trust, only, in their Lord.' On that, Ukasha bin Musan said, 'Am I one of them, O Allah's apostle?' The Prophet said, 'Yes.' Then another person got up and said, 'Am I one of them?' The Prophet said, 'Ukasha has anticipated you.' Volume 7, Book 71, number 607. Narrated by Salama. The husband of a lady died and her eyes became sore, and the people mentioned her story to the Prophet. They asked him whether it was permissible for her to use coal as her eyes were exposed to danger. He said, "Previously, when one of you was bereaved by a husband, she would stay in her dirty clothes in a bad unhealthy house, for 1 year, and when a dog passed by, she would throw a globe of dung. No, she should observe the prescribed period Iddah, for 4 months and 10 days. Volume 7, Book 71, number 608. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle said, "There is no adwa, no contagious disease is conveyed without Allah's permission. Nor is there any bad omen, from birds, nor is there any hamar, nor is there any bad omen in the month of Safar, and one should run away from the leper as one runs away from a lion." Volume 7, Book 71, number 609. Narrated by Said bin Zaid. I heard the Prophet saying, "Truffles are like manna. i.e. they grow naturally without man's care, and their water heals eye diseases. Volume 7, Book 71, number 610. Narrated by Ibn Abbas and Aisha. Abu Bakr kissed the forehead of the Prophet when he was dead. Aisha added, "We put medicine in one side of his mouth, but he started waving us not to insert the medicine into his mouth. We said, he dislikes the medicine as a patient usually does. But when he came to his senses he said, 'Did I not forbid you to put medicine, by force, in the side of my mouth?' We said, 'We thought it was just because a patient usually dislikes medicine.' He said, 'None of those who are in the house but will be forced to take medicine in the side of his mouth while I am watching, except Al-Abbas, for he had not witnessed your deed.'" Volume 7, Book 71, number 611. Narrated by K. I went to Allah's apostle along with a son of mine whose palate and tonsils I had pressed with my finger as a treatment for a throat and tonsil disease. The Prophet said, "Why do you pain your children by pressing their throats? Use Oud al-Hindi, certain Indian incense, for it cures 7 diseases, one of which is pleurisy. It is used as a snuff for treating throat and tonsil disease, and it is inserted into one side of the mouth of one suffering from pleurisy." Volume 7, Book 71, number 612. Narrated by Aisha. The wife of the Prophet, when the health of Allah's apostle deteriorated and his condition became serious, he asked the permission of all his wives to allow him to be treated in my house, and they allowed him. He came out, supported by 2 men, and his legs were dragging on the ground between Abbas and another man. The sub-narrator told Ibn Abbas, who said, "Do you know who was the other man whom Aisha did not mention?" The sub-narrator said, "No." Ibn Abbas said, "It was Ali." Aisha added, "When the Prophet entered my house and his disease became aggravated, he said, 'Pour on me 7 water skins full of water, the tying ribbons of which had not been untied, so that I may give some advice to the people.' So we made him sit in a tub belonging to Hafsa, the wife of the Prophet, and started pouring water on him from those water skins till he waved us to stop. Then he went out to the people and led them in prayer and delivered a speech before them." Volume 7, Book 71, number 613. Narrated by K. That she took to Allah's apostle one of her sons whose palate and tonsils she had pressed because he had throat trouble. The Prophet said, "Why do you pain your children by getting the palate pressed like that? Use the Oud al-Hindi, certain Indian incense, for it cures 7 diseases, one of which is pleurisy." Volume 7, Book 71, number 614. Narrated by Abu Sa'id. A man came to the Prophet and said, "My brother has got loose motions." The Prophet said, "Let him drink honey." The man again came and said, "I made him drink honey, but that made him worse." The Prophet said, "Allah has said the truth, and the abdomen of your brother has told a lie." See Hadith number 88. Volume 7, Book 71, number 615. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. Allah's apostle said, "There is no adha, no disease is conveyed from the sick to the healthy without Allah's permission, nor safar, nor hama." A Bedouin stood up and said, "Then what about my camels? They are like deer on the sand, But when a mangy camel comes and mixes with them, they all get infected with mangy. The Prophet said, then who conveyed the mange disease to the first one? Volume 7, Book 71, number 616. Narrated by Ois. That she took to Allah's apostle one of her sons whose palate and tonsils she had pressed to treat a throat trouble. The Prophet said, be afraid of Allah. Why do you pain your children by having their tonsils pressed like that? Use the Oud al-Hindi, a certain Indian incense, for it cures 7 diseases, one of which is pleurisy.